I don't have to tell you that the mess that Oklahoma is in. Are we going to solve the problem by hiring the same people who created it? These words were spoken 4 years ago by Kevin Stitt. They have come back to haunt him when he went from being a candidate to an incumbent. Words are cheap. Action is a function of character. Behavior defines a leader, not just his spacious rhetoric. Back then, he was painting himself as an outsider, but now he has a track record that contradicts everything he promised you. You can see that with your own eyes. I'm Dr. Mark Sherwood. As a veteran of the Tulsa Police Department and leader of the SWAT team, I know what it's like to put words into action. When you go through the door first to arrest a suspect and put your own life on the line, you know what it means to value your fellow officers and citizens of the community who depend on you. I'm running against Kevin Stitt in the GOP primary on June 28, 2022, to be your next Oklahoma governor. As a naturopathic doctor and co-founder of the Functional Medical Institute in Tulsa, I have dedicated my life to the well-being of my fellow Oklahomans. Kevin Stitt has let us all down. He now owns the problems that Oklahoma faces, which he and his administration created. I would be happy to stand on the stage with him and show clearly where he has failed. However, he will never have the courage to do that. The biggest distinction between Kevin Stitt and myself is that he is beholden to outside interests, both in industry and in government. He has the money and he has the media. I have the integrity and the support of my fellow Oklahomans. That's why we're going to prevail with your help. I'm sure you can come up with many more reasons, but here are 10 that clearly contrasts Kevin Stitt's record of failure with what you and I together will do to turn Oklahoma around. We will set things back on the right course when I become your next governor. Number 1, he has consistently not pushed for legislation or written executive orders to eliminate all bad mandates for businesses operating in Oklahoma. Kevin Stitt is the quintessential politician who says one thing and does the opposite behind closed doors. What did he do when there were vaccine mandates that jeopardized your career and your livelihood? He offered empty promises. He blamed it on Joe Biden, but he did not do anything about it. There will be no such mandates when I take office next January. You may want to say this message, and 4 years from now, you'll be able to verify that I've fulfilled every promise I'm making to you right now. Number 2, he will not push for the abolishment of abortion. Now, this is very personal to me because I would not be standing here talking to you today if my mother had chosen to terminate my life in the womb after I was conceived in an act of abuse. Every life matters. God knew us and knitted us together in our mother's womb. Every one of us. How many precious souls have never seen the light of day because of the abomination of abortion? With God's help, we will end abortion in Oklahoma as soon as I'm sworn in as governor. All that traffic across the Red River from Texas to get an abortion here in Oklahoma after the heartbeat bill went into effect will cease immediately. I know our conservative friends in the Oklahoma legislature will work with me to make Oklahoma the first abortion-free state in the United States of America. Number 3, over 300,000 acres of Oklahoma land is owned by associates of the Chinese Communist Party. Most of our own federal government, both in the Biden administration and in Congress on both sides of the political aisle, are swept up into warmongering in Ukraine, trying as hard as they can to cast us into a dismal apocalypse of World War III. Kiev is 5,700 miles from Oklahoma City, but the Chinese Communist Party from Beijing is right here in Oklahoma. The CCP is buying up valuable agricultural land all over our state. They also are very deeply involved in the medical marijuana industry, exploiting it into illegal marijuana trafficking and making Oklahoma a source of illicit cannabis nationally and even internationally. Kevin Stitt, in the meantime, ignores this growing threat. He has made Oklahoma a laughingstock while he pads his own pocketbooks of his old cronies who budget his reelection campaign. This will cease when I become governor. I will not court foreign countries, including Mexico or any others, at the expense of our own people. I will stand up against any foreign enemy, including the Chinese Communist Party. I am not for sale. Number 4. Our schools and health rank 47th and 48th across the nation, respectively. Well, we'll say more about schools, but is there anything more important to you than the future of our children and our grandchildren? What kind of world will you leave them? Will you be as responsible of a steward and leave them as good of a home as your ancestor did you? As governor, I will strive to make Oklahoma and Oklahoma public schools optimum places of higher learning that prepare our next generation of Oklahomans. Homeschooling will be made available to every parent at your option. I have devoted my life to keeping people healthy, with my wife and I having treated over 10,000 patients with 0 deaths attributed to COVID. We will guarantee that the state of Oklahoma will be a healthy place to raise your family. You will make your own healthcare choices without coercion by me or any other government official. Number 5. CRT and forms of it are taught in our schools right now, along with reading materials that are meant to indoctrinate our children. There are laws, however, they have no teeth and are not enforced. Do you want your son or daughter indoctrinated to condemn people on the basis of their skin color? We shouldn't even have to ask such a question. This is the antithesis of the I Have a Dream speech by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He foresaw a day when little boys and girls of every race would sit down at the table together and would play with one another. It's all about mutual respect. Kevin Stitt has not prevented CRT from infiltrating our schools. I will stop it beginning on day 1. Action, not just words. We will respect all Oklahomans and will not promote divisive policies. Number 6. Kevin Stitt does not understand the Constitution, especially the 10th Amendment, indicating that the states maintain the rights and the power over the federal government. We should not have to ask the federal government's permission about anything. Now, this is where we must focus as we prevent Joe Biden and the federal government from overreaching into the lives of Oklahomans as they violate the United States Constitution. We don't need a governor who talks a good fight against Joe Biden, but who sends the First Lady of the state of Oklahoma to kiss up to Jill Biden on the tarmac at the Tulsa airport. Any federal law that violates the 10th Amendment is unconstitutional and is therefore not binding upon Oklahoma or any other state. Under Governor Mark Sherwood, Oklahoma will stand firmly upon the United States Constitution and reject any and all federal overreach which violates the 10th Amendment. Number 7. Our tax dollars are currently being used to lure big businesses to Oklahoma. If we create a climate of freedom, which we will under my administration, we will see businesses coming here on their own volition. Further, businesses being lured to Oklahoma are getting many of their materials from China, thereby feeding the Chinese Communist Party. My motto as governor will be Oklahoma for Oklahomans. We will welcome business if it contributes to our economy, if you accept and adapt to our way of life. You will not come here and bring your foreign influences to try to corrupt our communities. Neither China nor any other country will colonize Oklahoma on my watch. People from all over the world are welcome with open arms to come live in Oklahoma. But they come here because they choose to become Oklahomans, not to remain loyal to any foreign hostile power. Number 8. Health smart cards are coming to Oklahoma. Those are unthinkable in our culture, but our governor has already signed off. Smart health cards are paper or digital versions of your clinical information, such as vaccination history or test results. They allow you to keep a copy of your records on hand and easily share this information with others if you choose. Smart health cards may be printed on paper or digital. You can keep a smart health card as a digital file on your phone, computer, or anywhere you store digital information. They contain your legal name and date of birth, your clinical information, tests, date, manufacturer, and result, vaccinations, type, date, and location. You have already seen that you cannot trust the government with your personal health information. They will use it against you. They could prevent you from traveling, buying and selling, or even working. Governor Stitt has been irresponsible in allowing this system to penetrate Oklahoma, where we value our liberties and privacy. As your governor, I do not want all your personal health records. They belong to you and your loved ones. They are private. Number 9. The relationship with the tribes is unthinkably pathetic. We are a state that has 39 sovereign nations of Native Americans. We must reestablish a cooperative relationship. Kevin Stitt is a shame and a disgrace to every Oklahoman. Apparently, his ultimate goal in life is to turn Oklahomans against one another, to cause conflict with our friends and our neighbors. He is wasting our tax money with frivolous litigation. Treaties are the supreme law of the land under Article 6 of the United States Constitution. Governor Stitt's intentional ignorance and abuse of the Constitution are unbefitting his position as chief executive of our state. I will sit down with the chiefs of all the tribes, and my door will always be open to every indigenous leader in Oklahoma. I do want to respectfully remind everyone in tribal government and all our Native American friends that holding out for a Democratic candidate to win in November will result in only one thing. It will get you the opportunity to watch Kevin Stitt be re-inaugurated next January the 9th. I ask for everyone who realizes that Kevin Stitt is bad for Oklahoma to give me your support. You do not have to be perfectly aligned with every point in my agenda to realize I'm a man of my word. I will reestablish the broken relationships with the tribes. And number 10, there is no accountability with our turnpike situation. We keep building more roads and hoarding more cash. Where is it going? Oklahomans want to know. While we all want better roads, and they help us get from point A to point B much quicker and comfortably, our turnpikes are grossly mismanaged. If your tax dollars were being properly used, it would not be necessary to continue collecting tolls on roads which you have already contributed in building, charging you over and over, forever and a day. With the cost of living going up every day and gas prices going out of sight, that extra money that you pay on turnpike tolls could well be used for other necessities in your family. And there you have the 10 issues where Kevin Stitt has failed to keep his promises he made to you 4 years ago. You can add many more on top of these, I'm sure. I will work to make Oklahoma energy and agriculturally independent once again. I'm old enough to remember when Tulsa was once touted as the oil capital of America. We do not need Joe Biden's permission to govern our state under the 10th Amendment. We also don't need a governor like Kevin Stitt who is too weak, too compromised, and too corrupt to stand up for you. His leadership image is a mirage carefully cultivated in the ivory towers of power outside Oklahoma. We don't need any more midnight cowboys who are all hat and no cattle here in the Sooner State. I will conclude for today with this. Kevin Stitt keeps saying that he wants Oklahoma to become a top 10 state. I guarantee you that neither Brent Venables nor Mike Gundy would ever start the season by declaring that the goal of their team was to finish number 10. Oklahomans deserve a winner, not a leader of limited vision who focuses on his own political ambitions. Thank you for your time today. Please vote for Mark Sherwood for governor in the GOP primary on June 28, 2022. My one and only aim is to serve all the people of Oklahoma. Unlike Kevin Stitt, if you honor me with your vote, you will be able to look back 4 years from now and verify that I did exactly what I promised you I would do. God bless Oklahoma, and God bless the United States of America.